Howdy Gamer Geeks, Nintenjoel here again with yet another pickup video, and this time I've got several games from several different systems. I don't discriminate when it comes to old school consoles. I love games from all consoles, so I try to pick up as many games as possible. It makes it harder to collect for one system at a time, but at the same time you get to experience a lot of different games that you might not if you only collect for one system. I find collecting for one system is kind of limiting. Anyways, enough of that rant. So, the first game I have for you is actually a funny story, and by funny, I mean tragic. So, I picked up Star Soldier on NES the other day and was pretty stoked because it has a good label, and I was like, hey, I can replace that copy that I have that has the completely black label that some kid took marker or something, colored it completely black. So, I took out the game today to show you guys, and I was very disappointed to find out that this was not Star Soldier at all. This is actually Star Voyager, and so I'm still on the lookout for a good copy of Star Voyager with a good, nice, clean label. We shall see. It's a cheap game, but I haven't ran into it yet, so I don't know, eventually. So, then I picked up for Sega Genesis Heavy Nova. And I really like the artwork on the front of this. It's really just so 80s and anime-ish. But I find it interesting that the company that made this decided that all their company information was more important to put on the front than than the name of the game, which is really ridiculous. Anyways, it's called Heavy Nova. It's for Genesis, and this game is known for having horrible controls. And I'm going to tell you guys what, this is the episode of games that Nintenjoel has not played. Every single game that I am showing you that I've got in this pickup video, I have not played except for one. And yeah, this is not one. This is not that one. This is a action platformer, and you're a robot destroying other robots, and it looks pretty cool, but the controls are horrible from what I understand. Air Diver for Genesis is a first-person perspective, like space shooter, and this one actually looks a little more decent. I'm not really into that kind of game as much. I actually thought this was a horizontal shooter for some reason. It is not, but when I looked up the gameplay, it actually looked fairly decent, so that's cool. I picked up these games for just a few bucks, and yeah, I'm going to eventually test these all out and see how good they are, but in the meantime, I picked up a really unusual title that I've never played. This one's Tin Star for Super Nintendo, and I looked up gameplay footage of this and was literally stumped on how to describe this game. It's like a side-scrolling adventure where you're going from left to right, and you're like an alien robot thing, and you're fighting other aliens, but you control a crosshair, and you shoot enemies with the crosshair, but you're still moving left to right. And apparently you can use the Super Scope 6 with this. I actually don't have one of those, so I will have to try that eventually when I find one. But yeah, it actually looked pretty interesting. The next Super Nintendo game that I have is a funny one. This is my very special edition of Super Mario Kart with rattling sound effects. I picked this up for $1. The guy didn't even look at the label. I picked it up and shook it and said, "This is probably broken. What do you want for this?" And he said, $1. And I said, okay. So I took it home and opened it up, and all that's wrong with it is the battery is out and not soldered in correctly. I actually jammed the battery in there and jammed the connectors in and played it, and it works and it saves. So it just needs one simple solder point. So Mario Kart for $1. That was definitely one of the highlights of this pickup. And I honestly cannot remember where the hell I picked this up at, but Resident Evil 4 for PlayStation 2. This looked totally beat up when I saw it, but you know, if I have a tip for you guys, it is don't judge a book by its cover at first. Sometimes a game will have stickers all over it, and it'll have writing all over it, and it's still savable. This is one of those examples where the case was trashed. There were stickers actually on the label on the inside, the front cover, and with a little bit of heat, a little bit of coaxing, you can get those labels off no problem. And I replaced the cover, and yeah, it's complete. And I paid like $3 for this. So Resident Evil 4 for PlayStation 2, complete for $3. You cannot beat that. That was an awesome score. Just took a little work, you know. Okay, so the next score was something that I have not had for a very long time. I used to have an original Game Boy, and I had one since it came out pretty much. Probably the only console I ever got at the beginning of its life. I got this game with Tetris, and I got it with Mario Land, and I got it with one of the Castlevania games, and I mean, I got it pretty much right when it was released. And that's about the only console I ever have done that with. But somewhere down the line, I got rid of my Game Boy, and I finally picked one up. And dude wanted $15 for it. I talked him down to 10, and when it came down to it, I was $1 short. So really, I got this for $9, or I got Mario Kart for free, depending on how you want to see that. So I actually kind of like to think that I got Mario Kart for free. But either way, $10 for a Game Boy, because it works, and it came with Kid Icarus, so that's pretty sweet. I've actually never played this Kid Icarus. Kid Icarus on Nintendo is notoriously one of the hardest games in history, but I haven't tried the Game Boy version. I'm not sure if it's as hard as the Nintendo version. I know it's a different game, but I hope they put the difficulty level maybe just a notch lower. So anyways, that was a really good score. And the last thing I have for you guys is something that you just don't see very often, even if this is a common game. And that's why I saved it for last, because it's a common game, but you never see it in this kind of condition, let alone even these games. And I got this from a local glassblower. Where I work, glassblowers come in and sell us their wares, and this guy blows some pretty cool stuff, and he overheard me talking about video games to a coworker, and he said, "Hey, I just picked up an odd video game the other day," and I said, "Oh yeah, what is it?" And he said, "It's a TurboGrafx CD game that I found at Goodwill in the CD section." And I was like, "Oh, I'll buy that from you." And he was like, "All right, cool." So he gave me his number, and like a week later, it took us a while to get together, but a week later I met him, and I got probably one of the most common games ever. I think this one came with the TurboGrafx 16. This is Keith Courage in Alpha Zones, but it's in excellent condition. It's got the card, it's got the little protector for the card, and it's got the manual, it's even got its original case, and for $5, I mean, you can't go wrong. Literally any TurboGrafx game that you can find for $10 complete is worth it. So, yeah. That's pretty much my pickups video. I don't really have anything else for you guys. I just wanted to get this one out of the way, because I have a couple more than I need to do, and I've been falling behind on that, doing other videos for this channel, and I have another channel as well, which is dedicated to metal. But yeah, so there's one pickup video down. Stay tuned for more. If you like the video, please give a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos by me, and hopefully thumbs those up too, give a subscription down below. There's a little subscribe button down there, and leave me a comment. What do you think about these games, and what did you guys pick up? Have you guys picked up anything cool this week, or even any time recently? I like to hear about that stuff, because it's really interesting. People pick up the most random shit. I've picked up some really weird stuff in the last couple weeks, as you will see probably in the next couple weeks when I do a couple more of these videos. So anyways, that's all I have for you guys. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and keep gaming, folks.